All right, so NBC, NBC, what's up? My name is Nicholas Lawson. I'm a valedictorian, one of the valedictorians in my high school. I gave the class speech. Then I went into the university system and proceeded to spend 5 years in the world class design school known as Design, Architecture, Art, and Planning, where I did great. I did great. There were certain projects that were assigned to us that I knocked all the way out of the ballpark. I just leveled them and got like awards in the classroom in the major critique sessions. And and then there was the object oriented programming they assigned us, which was divergent from the procedural programming that I did in high school that I was great at. I was great at procedural programming, like programming in the basic programming language, like the programming language that you program to send a missile into space. I can program in that language. But object oriented programming, they hit me with it, and I straight failed twice at design school. And I was of the impression that I was going to be drawing and photographing and videoing and doing graphics and 3D modeling and things like that. I didn't know that I was going to be asked to program, and they didn't give you much introduction. So, anyways, I failed out of design school twice, and then failing out of design school twice, I still need a degree. I still need to graduate. I can't. I'm not going to be a college dropout because it's too hard. So I enroll in the McMicken Arts and Sciences shortly after failing out of design school for the second time, and and it was like one class. Like I was having trouble with one class, but a failure would have dropped me out of the program. So then I enrolled in the McMicken Arts and Sciences, I'd been involved in an open mic scene. I'd been an open mic performer, and I got involved in mental health and disabilities with Talbot House in Cincinnati, Ohio, and just this whole whirlwind of just academia, study, taking a class, studying, reading, writing, reading, writing, reading, writing. Arts and sciences was just listening to a professor, going home and reading the text, writing a paper, submitting it, listening to the professor, reading the textbook, writing a paper, submitting it, and I just went about 6 years of arts and planning, and well, 5 years of arts and planning, and then what I didn't mention yet is I also studied for a year in London, England, where where I well sophomore year of design school I went to England for a year, where I studied British culture, went to nightclubs, got involved in drugs, got involved in girls, got involved in history classes, art classes, nightclubs. Like it was a real exotic experience. I come back to the states and everything goes back to normal. And so let's fast forward to arts and sciences. I graduated from arts and sciences in 2010, and then I get a job with AmeriCorps, and with America, I'm writing, and with AmeriCorps, I start my writing studies, my graduate writing studies, and I get involved in poetry, I get involved in literature, I get involved in short story writing, and I'm just really just in AmeriCorps volunteer service, working at a public television station, while at the same time as working while at the same time as I taking classes on a Friday, learning about diplomacy with AmeriCorps, and that lasts for about a year, and then when that ends, my folks ask if I want to move to an apartment, and have my disability benefits from being on disability. And so I moved to an apartment in Clifton, which you wouldn't know about Clifton, but Clifton's one of the nicer neighborhoods in Cincinnati, Ohio. I moved to a little studio, and I had friends at the time that didn't have places, so they were all crashing on me. And the one party, the one night, after serious web design studies, really digging into web design and studying WordPress and studying hand coded web design. I was doing websites for friends of mine, whether they liked it or not. I forced myself on people to do design work for them, and I developed some images for some people, and it worked out pretty well. And then And then I get evicted from my apartment after like a year and a half of living there. And while I'm there, like I'm helping out the homeless at the park down the street, and I'm performing at the pavilion, the stage locally. I set up a show at the Echo Star, where I create the introduction and introduce the host who handled the opera, who handled the day-to-day operations, and I was one of the performing artists. And he brought in the talent, and I was one of the talent that he brought in from time to time. And and then well then after this girl, this 19-year-old girl that my friend was betting at the time. She gets upset with him, and when she can't successfully stab him with a knife, she runs downstairs and kicks in a glass door, and they pin it on me, and I get evicted because of a guest. And so I moved to Mount Healthy, and in Mount Healthy, I'm doing graphic design work for somebody. He moves in with me again, this guy, and he moves in with the same girl that kicked in the door. And I'm learning lessons in my mid 30s that you learn in your mid 20s when you move out of the house at 18. Like I'm learning about freeloaders, and I learned about freeloaders, and the one day I called my case manager, said there's this guy who's giving me the creeps. He is just putting a lot of pressure on my lifestyle, and she had the cops come over and evict him, and his name was Hakeem Shair or Brian Simpson. He forced everybody to call him Hakeem Shair, but his name's Brian Simpson. And then well then I'm in that apartment for a couple for like a year and a half, 2 years, and then I started getting spooked out by my apartment. I started getting spooked out by it, and I just I feel like there's something wrong with the air. Like I've encountered a lot of air in my life, but this air just felt weird. It felt different. I was smoking weed at the time, so I wasn't right in my mind. I don't really realize how bad weed is for you at this time period of my life. But I make my way down. I make my way downtown and I end up in the homeless system for 2 years because I'm stupid. And I have a mental illness, and I do great work. It's just that like the procedurals of life sort of have given me issues in my 30s, and so I'm homeless 2 years. I stay at a mental health institution for 6 months for 3 months. Then I'm at transitional housing. Then I'm staying with this guy named JT who threatens to fight me, so I get kicked out. So I leave his apartment, go down to a homeless shelter, and then some guy picks a fight with me, and I end up at a mental health institution again for 6 months, and then I end up in transitional housing for 3 months, and then I end up with an apartment in North College Hill, and that's where I stay today. And it's just this epic mundane city story of university open mics, mental health treatment, homelessness, playing basketball, um, uh, reading books, writing poetry, writing emails. That's just all that. So that pretty much leads that, and I move into this apartment, and I smoke weed for about a year, and then last year, I quit smoking weed, quit smoking cigarettes, and that leads to just recently where someone smokes me out again, and someone smokes me out again, and then I got high again. Now I'm addicted to cigarettes again, which is not good in the time of the coronavirus. Which is, in terms of the virus, I think, I don't know. I I hope I get sick. Not really, but I hope I get sick, build up the immunity, and just go about my life. I hope this plague is just nothing to me. That's what I want this plague to be to me. I want it to be nothing. I want the coronavirus to be a non-thing to me. That's what I want. All right. It's been nice talking to you.